Sports guys talking wrestling on the horn. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons, and we go from one legend to another. Joining us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline, one of the most respected individuals, as I mentioned, in professional wrestling. He was a longtime referee back in the days of the Sportatorium, still reffing to this day. Basically helped run the NWA for a time. Has been instrumental in so many wrestlers' careers and just influencing everything that's happening in pro wrestling. James Beard. Hello, James. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Stu. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. So you are involved in something called Southwest Wrestling Entertainment. Tell us about it.
Well, it's a lot of people think it's new, but it's really not. Tom Lance has had this company for about 30 years, I guess. He actually, it was LNA Productions at one time, and then he was partners with Chris Adams for a while. But Tom has been promoting for like about 30 years, and I've known him all that time, basically. Worked for him a little bit off and on way back in the day, and it kind of went dormant for a while. The business in the late '90s kind of got off the tracks a little bit, and he kind of put it on the shelf for a little while, and then just kind of out of a quirk, he was asked to promote a benefit show a few months ago. Actually a little over a year ago now. And he did that, and it turned out really, really well. He asked me to book it for him, and I did that. And from there, we've gotten to a point now to where we're on 3 streaming networks and just started on a broadcast network in Dallas. So SWE Fury is the name of the TV show. And I'm trying to do it pretty much a little bit like a throwback. We've got rules, we're trying to do things a little bit more like the way we used to do them, with competition being the key to it, and having some rules and maybe getting a little bit more back into the storytelling type format. So it's been a lot of fun up until this virus kind of put us on a shelf. So we were getting some really, really good momentum started up, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it.
And it seems to be a trend nowadays. What you were talking about with kind of going back kind of a throwback with things like time limits and rules and everything. I've seen it a little bit with AEW. I've seen it a bit with the new NWA. Yeah. It seems like that style of wrestling, it's kind of one of those things of what's old is new again, and it seems to have come back in vogue. Especially when you counter it to what you see, say, from WWE or some of the other places. Talk about just how it seems like that it has come back in style.
Well, I've been preaching this for a long time, as you probably know, but I don't believe everything old is better than everything new. I'm not trying to say that. I think there's a way to maintain some of the traditions and some of the values of the wrestling product that a lot of us grew up with and fell in love with, and still be exciting and have the kind of matches that people can really enjoy watching, but at the same time become emotionally invested in what's going on, and not just the matches but the guys, making people care about it. I think there's a big difference in making fans feel something and just making fans react to something, and I think you can do both. I think it's gotten off the rails where it's just all about getting the reaction and not about the feelings and about the storytelling and about an episodic type situation where things carry on for a while. I think it's a misnomer that people think that everyone's attention span is so short now that you can't do that kind of format. But I think that's absolutely wrong. If you look at all the really popular TV shows, the ones that have sustained, they are all episodic, and they all have storylines that carry from one week to the next and through a whole season, and finally have a finish at the end of the season, and usually a cliffhanger that brings on something for the next one. So I think it's a wrong thinking to think that fans won't follow that kind of product, and that's what I've been trying to get back to, and finally with SWE Fury, I have the opportunity to kind of do it the way I want to do it. Thanks to guys like Tom Lance and Jason Jarrett and Kevin Willard, who are really behind the office of that promotion, and they're allowing me to do things the way I want to do them, pretty much, and that's what I believe in, and I believe there's a fan base out there that's ready for that, and I'm trying to stick to it. I'm like I said, we got rules. I kind of throw some of the guys off a little bit, but one of our rules in our promotion is that you cannot use a closed fist above the neck. That's a disqualification. Throwing a guy over the top rope, which is an old rule from NWA days, that's a disqualification. So we're trying to get it back to where fans can watch it and understand what the rules are and know what to look for, and doing that, the wrestlers, the ones that are getting heat, can really get heat. It's not just about calling your mother a name or talking bad about a town that you're in. It's about actually getting heat in the ring, and I believe that's something that you can do, and fans will appreciate that if you do it the right way.
It seems like the psychology of professional wrestling has been a bit of a lost art within the last couple of decades, but I think you both can agree to this, that it's kind of funny that even though professional wrestling fans know more about the inside workings of the business now than they ever had previously, it seems that all professional wrestling fans don't really realize how come somebody is so good sometimes, and a lot of that has to come down to their psychology in the ring. Because I can even remember being a kid and being a big fan of Bret Hart and not understanding exactly why at first.
It's because he made you care about him. He made you care about what he was doing in the ring and what happened to him and what happened to his opponent. That kind of thing. It's a matter of making that personal investment in people. Fans have always been smart. I mean, to think that the fans from the 50s and 60s didn't know that there was something a little up with wrestling is absolutely wrong. And they've known. They just didn't care because the wrestlers and the promoters, the people that presented the product, took it seriously. They didn't wink at you. They didn't insult your intelligence for the most part. I mean, there was some crazy stuff done in wrestling forever, but for the most part, they took it seriously. So the fans took it seriously. They could allow themselves to just sit back and enjoy the product. And I think I heard an interview, or I guess it was an interview, or it was something on YouTube or something that Al Snow had made, and he was talking about the fact that a lot of the wrestling product these days is catered to a vocal minority, which I mean, for lack of a better term, you're talking about the smart marks, basically, who know and want to critique the wrestling product, and they're very vocal about it, and they've got all these opinions and everything, but they've never actually been involved in the business, so they don't really understand everything about it, no matter how smart they are. And he made the point that most fans aren't like that. They don't care about. They may know that something's up, but they don't care. And those are the fans that you really need to, I think, cater to instead of that small minority of guys who are just vocal and are going to critique everything you do.
Complainers that complain. I remember seeing that clip from Al Snow. And you're
yeah.
right. It was so spot on with that. I mean, look, I've watched wrestling for 4 decades, and I still marvel at some of the simple things as much as I marvel at a huge aerial move. But someone that can put together a match with the simple psychology and the simple story and just, bring the emotions out. It's it is a lost art. And when you get to see it, the rare time you do get to see it, it is really something special. Talking with James Beard, SWE Fury. You can catch it if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Catch it on the CW33. You can also see it on the Action Channel, Right Now TV, and you can see it on Fight TV. Our friends at Fight TV carry it as well. So, James, give us a preview. Hopefully, once this thing finally subsides and we can get back to getting together for shows and such, give us a couple things to look forward to on SWE Fury.
Well, we were really just getting started about laying out some programs, some angles, and introducing some of our main guys and trying to establish who they are to the fans. So and that was just kind of I guess we have about 12 shows in the can. And thank goodness we had a few because of this thing. But guys like Brent McKenzie, who's I'm sure you're very familiar with Brent. He's from down in that part of the country, and he's almost an untapped talent, really. I mean, he's very well known in some of the local indies and stuff. But he's a guy I think that has a special talent that you can really count on. And of course, Tim Storm, who is, everybody knows my relationship with Tim and the former NWA champion. He is our champion right now. Moonshine Mantell, and some guys that maybe some of the Texas fans are just starting to get to know a little bit, like Niles Plonke and Miranda Lambert. I'm thinking music now. Miranda Gordy, who is just starting really in her career and doing very well. Yeah. And there's a base there that I believe that I can build on, and I'm bringing a lot of guys. I had guys plan to come in, like the Dirty Blondes that were coming in on this next TV taping, but of course we're not going to be able to do that.
One of my favorite tag teams. Team.
Rodney Mack and Jacobs. Jazz is our lady champion. We just got a great crew and a lot of guys from the Southwest area, Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, that area that I think we can draw from and not have to bring in a lot of people from way off, and to start with anyway. So we're just really getting started trying to introduce those people to the fans, and I think it was off to a pretty good start. I hope we can pick it right back up where we left off.
Well, I hope so too. I'm looking at one of the graphics. I see Super Tex, Brent McKenzie. I see Chandler Hopkins, the Young Gun, Dirty Andy Dalton, Barrett Brown, Adam Asher. Yeah. I see a guy I love and sometimes just wanna just choke him sometimes. Nigel Rabid. Yes. I kid. I love Nigel to death. Yeah, Nigel and I have worked together a few times. You mentioned Rodney Mack, Jazz, Miranda Gordy, of course. What a collection! And yes, there is so much talent just in this area, and it's great to see something like SWE Fury that's going to put a spotlight on that talent and show the rest of the world the incredible talent that we have here in the Southwest, especially in Texas and the surrounding areas. So, looking forward to it. I'm trying to show it in a way that they can really show who they are. Instead of just having matches, they're involved in situations that fans can buy into and follow and become interested in, and a lot of the young guys, like Cade Carson, who's just a great talent that's just getting started in the business, and I see a lot of guys like him around that I think that we can take and mold and become very well known. Their potential is unlimited, really. Couldn't agree more. His name is James Beard, one of the most respected men in the business. Check out SWE Fury on any of those outlets that I mentioned. And James, all the best to you. I always love talking to you. And I hope that, as I said, once this pandemic subsides, we get back together. We just had Mark Henry on. He wants to start hitting the roads, hit some of these independent shows. So we may be bringing the World's Strongest Man to a Fury show one of these days.
Hey, I tell you what, that guy would be more than welcome at our shows. I was telling you off the show a while ago that I saw him last year at Cauliflower Alley, and I was very, very impressed with him. A super smart guy that just he loves the business, and that's the kind of people we want to have around for sure.
He sure does. James, thank you so much. All the best to you. Be well, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Stu. Anytime, my friend.